in the ocean with you, baby, up with a slow motion crew, and we up in our clouds when people change, but not us, and we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun, could be soaked to the skin in the monsoon. I know she got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey, and I don't need to speak a single word, cause you got me holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it, and I don't need to speak a single word, cause you got me holding.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Havoc Academy League stream. I'm your host, HVC Luke, and today we're finally here. The Season 7 playoffs is here, and we're going to be starting off very strong. Sadly, we did have a forfeit, so Havoc Purple are going to be playing in the other semifinal against Havoc Pink. You can go to twitch.tv/AzrielHV if you want to watch the other semifinal. But today, we got a very fantastic set of matches, and our semifinal will be Havoc Esports versus Slothhounds. And just so you all know what these teams are playing for, in these semifinals, whoever wins the semifinals will be moving on to the last chance qualifier for the main league tomorrow. So these teams are playing for an opportunity to play against main league teams, which is great for experience and everything close to that. But also, whoever wins the grand finals tonight will also be winning the prize pool of $60. Normally, we put all the prize pool into the main league playoffs, but we wanted to give Academy players something to play for besides just improvement, so us as an org have also footed forward $60 for the Academy League. But without further ado, I think we're all ready to start the game tonight, and it should be a fantastic set of matches. We do got Havoc versus Slothhounds. This match has happened so many times in Split 1 playoffs. It went all the way to 7. And now we're going to be seeing it here in the Academy playoffs for the end of Season 7. We're seeing Slothhounds versus Havoc Esports. Slothhounds have yet to beat Havoc, but they've been close every single time these two teams have played. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started with the first series on stream tonight for the Academy League on the main stream. Here we go. The teams are in. Let's get started. The match is here, and these two teams are ready to play. And going off, just to give y'all some context on what we're going to be really looking for in this match. We're going to be really seeing who steps up on either side. So we actually do have a returning Academy member. We have Charm back on Slothhounds. After I believe he didn't play on, he played at the very beginning of the season, as eventually removed from the roster, but he's back for the playoffs and is ready to show up. And sadly, we're not going to be seeing Speed Demon. I was informed that Slothhounds made a roster change, and now we're going to be seeing this new Slothhounds roster in their very first match on the main stream, trying to show us that they have what it takes to finally beat Havoc Esports. And for those of you all know, Havoc Esports used to be Smoking Guns Gaming. They have now been picked up by Havoc Esports, and they're looking to represent a new org. So I think Havoc Esports, that makes this team, this roster, the first team in Academy history to represent 3 organizations throughout an entire season. So there we go. Slothhounds is actually going to score first. So here we go. This is what we want to see coming out of. This is what we want to see coming out of the ranks of Slothhounds. We want to see them get on the board first, and we want to see them try and hold that lead. This is a best of 7 at the end of the day, so if they want to win this series, they're going to do whatever they can to try and stay in the lead from the get-go. Because we do know that even though Havoc Esports have managed to win their first tournament last week, they haven't been able to win more than that. They normally end up losing in the very important matches. So let's see if Havoc have gained that tournament win experience and can use it to get the dub here, or if Slothhounds, with their bringing back a very old member in Charm, can win this series. But everybody, welcome to the stream. Thank you everybody who's been showing up to Havoc throughout this entire season. All your support is greatly appreciated. Remember, anything you do to support our Twitch stream, Discord, or any of our social medias, you are implicitly helping out Havoc Esports in any way you can, but you're also helping out these players by allowing us to foot prize pools to these players as well. But that's going to be goal number 2 for Slothhounds. And in game number 1, Rosetta Esports starting off slow. But we do have to remember, Slothhounds have already played tonight. Slothhounds came through a very close Game 5 win against Havoc Orange in the quarterfinals. And now they're playing against currently the best team, or at least with recency bias, the best team in the Academy League. So, let's see if Slothhounds have what it takes to not only take this first game, but to take the series and make it to that last chance qualifier. Now, if you guys are fans of just Academy overall, then of course, you are probably hoping for Rosetta Esports to be a team that makes the last chance qualifier. A lot of people believe that Rosetta Esports have what it takes to be the first Academy team to actually beat a main league team in an entire series, and Zephyr is going to score first. Zay has now been told and has now told me that he's changed his name completely to Zephyr, and that's what we want to see from him. Solid striking on net. We've seen some nervousness from Slothhounds Rosetta Esports in the past, but now they've managed to bring it back within 1 and are looking to continue to bring it into this series. And another shot on target, and Charm will get the save on the goal line. Zephyr through the air, setting up Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, he didn't look very confident the last few weeks of the league for Split 2, but ever since he switched back to the Dominus from the Fennec, he's looked better and better. And honestly, he looked like one of the best players on his team in the Split 2 playoffs, where they got their first win. And here we go. This is going to be Kilo setting up not a shot, but a pass mid to Mr. Chair, supporting close behind his teammate. He puts the ball in the back of the net, and once again, Rosetta Esports tying up the game. Slothhounds going to have to try and adapt to their play even more. Ball. That's going to be a chance. Goal for Mr. Chair. 3-goal swing for the side of Rosetta Esports. Folks, this is what we want to see from the current tournament winning reigning champs at the moment. We have to remember Havoc Pink, they won Split 1, and then Smoking Guns, now known as Rosetta Esports, won Split 2. And now a week later, we're doing the end of the season Academy playoffs. And now Rosetta Esports are looking to try and claim themselves as the entire season Academy champs. But Sticky Kazoo puts one in the back of the net, back to a tied game. I definitely think this series will be a back and forth one. I think if it was a normal league play game, I think Rosetta Esports would have a higher chance to win in a sweep. I definitely do believe that. But now looking back into this game, both these teams are nervous. This is a best of 7. But remember, this is a qualification match. It's not only a match to get to the grand finals with the prize pool. It's a qualification match to play against main league teams tomorrow. And there we go. Zephyr again, brilliant striking, flying through the air, puts in the back of the end. Everybody, I've been watching Academy ever since we formed the Academy League, and teams have only gotten better. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. Back in seasons 1 through 3, we didn't have an Academy League. Academy teams just played in the main league, and you can probably imagine, well, some games were a lot of toss-ups, but even back then, where they got experience playing against main league teams, you still didn't see the same high-power offense, demos, and even teamwork in general that you see from Academy nowadays. It just goes to show how much Rocket League and how much players have improved. But here we go. That's going to be another goal on the board, and Slothhounds now going to find themselves at a 2-goal deficit. And yes, this is game 1 of the semi-finals. Rosetta Esports now up 5-3 in the final minute. Slothhounds looking to try and fight back in game number 1. Here we go. Ball floating through the air. Leaves it for Kilo. Can he get the ball mid? No. And Charm will look to try and clear his way out to the midfield line. Zephyr not able to get the best of passes mid, but he does make it so Slothhounds have to use some boost to keep it out of harm's way. Back to Sticky Kazoo. To Zephyr. Zephyr putting it off the backboard. Will to be touched out by Doug. Doug ends up getting it right to Kilo. Kilo trying to keep it on the offensive end, but here comes Slothhounds. Trying to start one last attempt to bring it back within one. With 23 seconds to go, they have to score before 0 seconds for even an opportunity to bring it back in game one. But it's not the end of the world if you are a Slothhounds fan. It is only game one at the end of the day. So even if they lose this match, they definitely showed some great strength on offense and defense. Let's see if they have what it takes to win in game number 2. And there we go. 0 seconds, folks. That's going to be game 1 going to the current Split 2 champs of Rosetta Esports. Here we go. That's going to be game 1. Fantastic stuff from all the players on the pitch. But Rosetta Esports just going to be that much better. 3 goals. So Zephyr with the hat trick in that one. Fantastic stuff from Zephyr. But now we're going to be going into game number 2. We're going to be going on to Beckwith Park Stormy to see which team is going to get closer to that match point. Right now, Rosetta, if they win this game, they're already 2 wins away from winning. Whereas Slothhounds will still be 4 games away. Slothhounds have to win now, bring it to a tied series, and then we should be in a good chance. I mean, essentially, it's a best of 5 at that point, which Slothhounds were able to win their last best of 5 in game 5. So we have a lot ahead of us, folks. That game was back and forth. So let's see if Rosetta Esports can come into this next game cleaner if they want to try and dominate Slothhounds. But Slothhounds, by how they're looking right now, Charm, he hasn't played for a while, but he's looking good. But all 3 of these players looking to really put on a show for us in this semi-final. But hopefully you all have enjoyed game number 1. Let's see what these 2 teams can do going into game number 2. Off to the kickoff once again. Let's see who can get possession of this kickoff. Whoever can get offense started here in this game, I feel will be the favorite. And right off the bat, we're starting to see some chances for Rosetta Esports. And Kilo will fire a shot into the back of the net. Kilo's definitely going to be happy now. He has a tournament win under his belt. And once Kilo is able to do something, he's able to replicate it over and over again. That's why people call Kilo one of, if not the most mechanical players in the Academy League, if not the best player in the Academy League, not just mechanics. But here we go. Zephyr through the air, not able to get to the touch, and Doug sends it all the way down the pitch. Charm with the dunks, trying to set it up mid, but no one on his team's there for the follow. Sticky Kazoo puts a shot on target. How is that in? Sticky Kazoo ties the game. Look at this, folks. Sticky Kazoo, he puts it right behind Kilo. Kilo ends up falling off the side post. Not necessarily something you want to see out of Rosetta Esports. You want to see them get the win. And yes, folks, I did check the pronunciation. It is Rosetta Esports. So if I ever do mess up the pronunciation, call me out in chat and I will fix it. But Zephyr, hat-trick in the previous game, scores another one in game 2. And look, who else but Kilo to once again set up the play. Kilo, when he came into this team, he was expected to be the striker. He was expected to be the player to show up, use his mechanics. But now we're starting to see him really diverge into a very well-rounded player. He's not just somebody who goes for solo plays. He sets up passes, and if anything, the mechanics he has sets up brilliant passes, gets the defense all riled up, but instead of him having to put a perfect shot on target, he sets up a teammate behind him. But Kilo, he does end up passing it back to Mr. Chair. It ends up not being the best of passes, and now we'll see Slothhounds on the offensive end. Ball off the backboard. Oh, out to the middle, and Kilo will send it down the pitch to Chair. Chair can't get the touch, but Zephyr will keep it on the offensive end. Kilo with the shot, can't get it on target, and Zephyr is now going to just try to 50 it for Kilo, and it will find its way into the back of the net. 1 minute in, 2-goal lead for Rosetta Esports. I said this series was going to be back and forth, but it manages to get but so far, Rosetta Esports has managed to get it. Well, we're seeing here from, oh my, what's with all these names that are hard to pronounce? Yaobi, I think, says in chat that it's Reseda, but I've been told by the players that it's Reseda. So I don't know anymore. Just say yayo, sounds good. But there we go. Back into the hands of Mr. Chair. You will take possession down the pitch. He's not able to get it past Charm, though, and Doug will try to keep it on the offensive end. Now to Sticky Kazoo. The air goes Sticky Kazoo once again, trying to get the pass mid, can't get the pass. Charm finds himself back on the defensive end, looking to try and start a counteroffensive, passing the ball mid. Can Doug get to it? No, Kilo's there first. Sticky Kazoo will get it around one, and Zephyr will take the possession. Here we go, ball back over to Mr. Chair. He puts it off the ceiling, and now will be followed up by Kilo. Kilo, he's been looking strong all game long. He wants to show that he is still considered one of the best, if not the best, in the Academy League. Back to Mr. Chair, 50s it across the pitch. Kilo, can he keep it on the offensive end? No, he has to take it slow. Trying to pass it back to a team, but it sets up Charm instead, puts it off the backboard. Here comes Doug, and he can't get a good shot on target. And now Reseda will take possession. All right, so if Yayo is the owner of Reseda, then I'll go off of that. So if it is Reseda, that's what I thought it was initially, but so I'm just like, I guess little brownie points for me. I was able to guess the pronunciation initially, but I went off what the team told me, so. But here we go, Zephyr, down the pitch. Pushes the ball forward. Ends up going over to Kalo. Oh my, Zephyr almost with the dunk. And now will be sent into the hands of Mr. Chair as he keeps the ball on the offensive end, trying to set up a teammate. A miss from Slothhounds will allow Reseda to keep possession on the offensive end. And now back to Kilo. Kilo to the ceiling. The Sticky Kazoo. Sticky Kazoo ends up popping it right to Mr. Chair, and Mr. Chair shoots! He scores off the crossbar and in! And Reseda have continued to expand the lead. This is the most confident Reseda Esports, or at least this roster, is the most confident we have ever seen them. Of course, Reseda, they signed him this past week. We're not seeing Smoking Guns or even Team Cypher anymore. We're seeing Reseda, and now they're showing up for their new organization and trying to get to this last chance qualifier spot, because that's what these teams are playing for right now. They're playing for the last chance qualifiers tomorrow, where they get experience against the main league teams. But now, it's going to be another goal on the board. Slothhounds. I mean, we've been talking about Reseda all game long, but now we have to talk about Slothhounds. What is hindering Slothhounds in this game? And right now, we're starting to see Slothhounds, unlike game one, they, outside the one goal they've scored, they haven't been able to get to the offensive end for one, and two, they haven't really shown the same energy that they had at the beginning of game one. They went up in game one 2-0 and then ended up losing. So I guess you could say they ended up losing a game where they were winning by 2 goals. Maybe that affected their mental a little bit, but they got to make sure they reset that mental as soon as possible, or Reseda's going to find themselves on match point, and Slothhounds are going to have to try and reverse sweep the split 2 reigning champs. Let's go with Radish's Esports. Shout out to Sutrick and chat. You know, I think, I would, but gotta make sure we respect the org. Here we go. Ball back over to the side. Gets pinched out by Mr. Chair as he tries to get the ball to the offensive end. Misses the second touch. Zephyr, though, will get a decent 50. Kilo double commits to them, though. So here comes Doug. Doug to Sticky Kazoo, the duo that's been here all split long. Can't get a goal yet, though. Ball pinches out to the midfield. Charm trying to set up his teammates in any way he can. Will get it to Kazoo, but again, we're starting to see the Slothhounds of old. When they are under pressure, they can't find the net. Now, their defense has looked okay, but it still has not been enough to stop the onslaught of an offense that Reseda Esports has been showing. Here comes Kilo again, popping it up into the corner. Can he set the ball out mid? Actually, he goes with the shot. It's going to find itself ricocheting off the crossbar. But game number 2 goes to Reseda Esports, 2 wins away from clinching the last chance qualifier. But there we go, folks. That's the Reseda we know and love, or at least this roster is showing us what we've been wanting to see the entire season. We want to see Kilo playing with confidence no matter what it is. We want to see Mr. Chair and Zephyr with the striking of angels. But now we're going to be going into game number 3. Sovereign Heights between these two teams, and it's do or die now for Slothhounds, or that's the mindset that you probably you would assume they would have, because if they lose this game, they're going to have to reverse sweep in a best of 7 to stay alive in Season 7. So it's definitely going to be a hard match. It's going to be a hard-fought match no matter what. But Reseda Esports, fantastic gameplay in the first 2 games. And now, everybody, I ask in chat, what do we think Slothhounds needs to do in order to come back in this series? Me personally, I think, 1, they have to try and at least put some shots on target. Even if they aren't able to score on the defense, a lot of their shots have been weak. So hopefully we can see them go into this game and just emphasize putting good, high-quality shots on target, and maybe we can see them come back in this game. Now, everybody, don't think Slothhounds are out of this. We do have to remember, Reseda Esports' roster, they went to Game 7 against Slothhounds. They've gone to Game 5 against Slothhounds multiple times in this history's past. And here we go, right off the bat, Doug almost getting a brilliant shot on target, but that's going to be a miss. Zephyr might have an empty net. Charm can't get back. Reseda Esports takes the lead, 1-0. And that's Sticky Kazoo. He's not going to be happy with that miss. He's going to be thinking that he definitely wants to have the opportunity back. Now, everybody remember, whoever wins this game, they still have 1 more series to clinch who's the Academy champions. But whoever wins just this series clinches the last chance qualifier, and that's what we want to see. Slothhounds finally put one in the back of the net after a good scoreless 4 or 5 minutes. And it's Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair doesn't get the best touch off the crossbar. 22 seconds in, we already find ourselves a goal apiece. And now we're looking to see if Slothhounds can continue their scoring streak. If they aren't able to get the lead now, then it might be all but over. Mr. Chair taking his time. Doug does get the beat, but Kilo's going to send it down the pitch. Kilo ends up having to leave it as the ball gets sent into his own half. Let's see what Mr. Chair can do. Mr. Chair gets a 50, trying to set up Zephyr. Zephyr taking his possession, gets it around 2. Can he get the flick on the last one? He gets the flick. It's above the net. That's going to be a great block, though, from Sticky Kazoo to keep the game tied at 1. But Kilo with a fantastic 50 keeps it on the offensive end. And now, here comes Charm, sending it off the ceiling to Zephyr. Zephyr trying to send it over now, but it's going to be Sticky Kazoo. Pass mid to Doug. Pass to Charm, but another shot off target. Slothhounds, the passes have been looking good, but you got to get a powerful shot on target if you want to try and beat this Reseda Esports. Back over to Zephyr. And now it's going to be Doug. He ends up hitting the ball mid, setting up Charm. Charm to Sticky Kazoo. Another great pass. And finally, a powerful shot off one of these passes finds its way into the back of the net. Slothhounds take the lead for the first time since Game 1. Of course, even though they have the lead, we do have to remember they ended up tossing that lead in Game 1, losing the game. Let's see if Slothhounds have what it takes to not just keep the lead, but expand it. Get Reseda Esports off their high horses and get them to start playing nervous. We know Reseda Esports in the past have been very, very nervous in important matches. They've been looking confident in games 1 and 2. So Slothhounds are going to have to try and do whatever they can to get Reseda Esports' roster to go back to that more nervous gameplay. Of course, Reseda, hopefully they don't do that. I would love to see just close games overall. But Slothhounds, if they want the best chance of winning, they're going to have to try and shut down any confidence Reseda have now. That double commit's definitely not going to help out their confidence, but it's still, they get to the offensive end, setting up Kilo. Kilo fitties the ball out mid. Here comes Mr. Chair with the shot. It's off the crossbar. No follow-up from Reseda, though, and Kilo's going to look for a weak shot himself. And now, back over to Sticky Kazoo. Pinches the ball down the field. And now, Zephyr. Now, over to Kilo. Kilo has to rush back. He's on 0 boost, though. Can he get to he gets the first solid 50, setting up Zephyr. Zephyr sets up a great 50 for Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair goes for a ball he's getting dusted to, and here comes the counterattack. Slothhounds looking for the beat. Pass mid, no one there for the shot. Slothhounds barely not able to get the goal, but a great shot. It's on target. Charm puts it in. Slothhounds up by 2 once again, and Reseda Esports now going to have to find a different way to get past the defense of Slothhounds. Back to the kickoff. Here we come. Slothhounds. Can they keep the 2-goal lead? They've been known to get scored on by kickoff goals a few times in the past, but this time they seem to avoid the kickoff goal. But Mr. Chair, starting his own solo play, gets the ball to the offensive end for Reseda Esports. Back over to Sticky Kazoo. Back to Kilo. Kilo gets beat out by Charm. Now to Mr. Chair. And Mr. Chair sending it down the field to Zephyr. Zephyr trying to pass the ball at the sidewall, but he ends up setting up Sticky Kazoo instead. After that first miss, Sticky Kazoo has looked one of the better players on the pitch. And he's looking to try and continue to set up his teammates in whatever way he can. Pinches the ball into the offensive end. They're looking just try to keep the ball on offense. Charm. He's been looking solid this game as well. Looking warmed up into this series. Back over to Zephyr. Zephyr to Doug. Doug putting it off the corner. We followed up here now by Sticky Kazoo, but a missed chance, and Charm shoots. He misses the net. Game still in with a 2-goal deficit. And now Reseda. Can he keep the ball on the offensive end? Or get the ball to the offensive end, as a matter of fact. Yes, he will. Now Zephyr, can he get the block? Misses the first touch, and now we'll be over to Kilo to keep it on the offensive end. He ends up getting bumped, Goomba stomped, as a matter of fact, by the side of Slothhounds. But Mr. Chair sends the ball down the pitch. Can he get the ball mid? Pinches the ball mid, but Sticky Kazoo with a brilliant read is able to easily touch that ball out. Now he gets bumped. Kilo over to Zephyr, passes the ball mid. Can it be a goal? Pinched off the crossbar and out. 50 seconds to go. Mr. Chair now trying to pile on the pressure, but it looks like Slothhounds might be taking their first game. 40 seconds to go. Kilo trying to get this ball to the offensive end. He fakes it around one, but now he leaves it. Zephyr taking his time. Kilo finds himself demoed in the midfield. Zephyr finds himself bumped, but a miss on the side of Slothhounds might open up the chance to a goal. And Mr. Chair puts a weak shot on net. We're starting to see the weakness that plagued Slothhounds in Game 2 is starting to affect Reseda Esports. They haven't been able to find the net, but Kilo with a brilliant own goal. Can't find its way. Can't get the... Oh my, look at this here. Kilo was right up Zephyr. And then he cuts and then completely balls Mr. Chair. I mean, I guess we do have to give credit where it's due. Kilo practicing his dribble cuts. Maybe he expected this game to be a loss already. But that's going to be a 4-1 loss now. Slothhounds building up some confidence in Game 3. And as we go to Manfield Night, they're definitely going to be happy with this performance as they try to make this series as close as all others have been. Going to Game 5, going to Game 7. And there we go, folks. That's going to be the end of game number 3. Slothhounds have managed to put one on the board. No sweep for Reseda Esports. Now, I will say, in the past, Reseda Esports haven't really been known for sweeps. They haven't been. They're a solid team, but they normally end up winning their series more in Game 5, Game 6, in best of 7s, and Games 4, Game 5, and best of 5. So even though Reseda Esports did lose this game, I wouldn't say if you're a fan of Reseda that you should automatically start getting scared. I think it's normal that Reseda Esports does drop off a little bit after the first couple of games, but now that they've lost a game, that's hopefully going to spark something in them, try to bring them back into the series, and it looks like the players are ready to go. Let's see if Slothhounds can continue this run of form from this game, excuse me. But here we go. We're still waiting on one more person to ready up, and let's get started. Now, I do know that Reseda Esports, their coach right now, or at least they're getting helped out by one of the main league players, and hopefully we see him instill some off-ball pressure into this team, because normally when we look at Reseda Esports, they tend to be a very fantastic team, but we have to see them continue on with off-ball pressure. This was the one narrative that we preached the entire time during the Split 2 playoffs was, can Reseda Esports continue to play their game? Can they continue to pile on the off-ball pressure even in the most important of games? And they were able to do it in the Split 2 playoffs, but can they do it here in the most important match of the season? Slothhounds, they're getting an opportunity, and Doug puts it into the back of the net. Slothhounds score first, and they're going to continue their scoring spree from game number 3. Again, we're every single time we see Reseda Esports close to match point or on match point, we see them completely change how they're playing. We don't see the individual confidence. We don't see the team play style. But if there's anyone that can step up here, we know it is going to be Zephyr. He's somebody that he's the one player on Reseda that never changes how he plays, no matter how good or bad the team's playing. And that consistency should allow him to come back not only in this game, but try to clinch out this series win as well. Mr. Charon gets bumped, but he sends the ball down the pitch, and Charm will put it into his own corner. Kilo, he tries to set up Zephyr. Zephyr now into the middle. Not able to get it past Charm. And a miss there from Mr. Chair. The ball's going to get sent all the way down the pitch. Can Zephyr get back? He does get the touch, but he's on 0 boost. And Kilo will manage to get the 50. The ball's not out of harm's way yet, though. Slothhounds try to set up a pass mid. Mr. Chair trying to get the ball out to the midfield line. And a miss from Doug might allow Reseda to get to the offensive end. They finally break the midfield line, but it gets sent right back into their end. Off the backboard. Follow up from Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair taking his time. Flicking the ball mid to Sticky Kazoo. Sticky Kazoo to Charm. Charm trying to see, can he get a shot on target? He will find the back of the net. 2-goal lead for Slothhounds. Now, I'm not sure at the moment who has won the other semifinals or who is, or what the series score is. I will indeed check in a second to see how it ends up, how that match is going. But Havoc Pink, they're definitely going to be a team they lost their first ever match that they showed up to in the Split 2 finals. That was the first time we ever saw Havoc Pink lose a game on stream. And now we're going to have to see if they can come back to win this Academy playoffs as well. But a third goal from Slothhounds will find itself in the back. And then anyone who thought this was over for Slothhounds after game 2, you are sadly mistaken. Because right now, Reseda Esports, they're looking like the ones that aren't able to handle the pressure. But it looks like Havoc Pink, okay, so Havoc Pink won 4-1. So Havoc Pink won 4-1 in the other semifinal against Havoc Purple. Havoc Purple, though, they're definitely going to be happy that they were able to get the win, get at least one win against the Split 1 champs. Here we go into the rest of game number 4. Slothhounds up by 3, but still 3 minutes to go. We've seen more insane comebacks than a 3-goal comeback with 3 minutes left before. But can we see Reseda Esports accomplish this? We know that Reseda Esports, they tend to score first and keep the lead the entire time. Now, luckily, they were able to win game 1 from a comeback victory, but that was after game 1. Ball's off the backboard, and Zephyr will get the save. We're starting to see Reseda trying to reinstill back into their hearts their rotations, their confidence and trust in each other, and more importantly, their confidence on the ball. Kilo off the ceiling! Oh my goodness, that could have been one of the most mechanical goals we've seen in the Academy League, but he ends up not being able to get the shot. Doug setting it up for his teammate, Sticky Kazoo, as he pinches the ball mid. No one on his team's there for the follow, but here comes Charm, looking for another shot. Top left corner, ricochets off the crossbar. And now Zephyr gets 50'd. The Charm will miss this touch, but again, we've seen so much pressure here from Slothhounds. Will they ever break the defense? No. And it's going to be Kilo with one touch, sending it all the way to the offensive end. Finally, Reseda find the back of the net. And now, with just a 2-goal deficit, Reseda are back in the game. They may be back in the game, but at the end of the day, Slothhounds, they do know that they have to keep this lead. If they lose this game, it's going to be even more of an uphill battle, because we saw what happened right after game 1. After they lost game 1 from a comeback loss, they ended up playing horrible in that second game. So now, oh my goodness, Mr. Chair puts it into the back of the net. That's going to be a 1-goal deficit, and here we go. Are we about to see another 3-goal swing? Shot from Mr. Chair, bump from Zephyr. The off-ball pressure is back, ladies and gentlemen, and Reseda Esports looking to come back in this game and try to get to match point. Zephyr taking his time. Can he get the 50? It's going to be a miss from Slothhounds, so it allows Zephyr and his team to try and take their time on their own end. Kilo gets it past almost the entire team. 50 Sticky Kazoo. But Charm will send the ball into the offensive corner to avoid any quick counterattack. Mr. Chair looking for the ceiling pinch. It's not the fastest of pinches, but he does get the other team to bite. Sticky Kazoo off the backboard, setting up his teammate Doug, but Doug can't get there. Sticky Kazoo doesn't get the best of touches, and now Kilo sends it off the sidewall for Zephyr. Zephyr can't get to the touch, and Sticky Kazoo sends the ball down the pitch. Final minute of play in game number 4. Sticky Kazoo off the backboard, tries to set up his teammate, but now Doug, as last man back, he has to make sure Kilo doesn't get the dunk, and he himself will pinch it to the offensive end. 45 seconds to go. Over now to Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair sends the ball high into the offensive end. Can he get the pass mid? He goes for it, but Doug with another beat. Doug, he's been instrumental on the defensive end, and Sticky Kazoo is instrumental on offense. 30 seconds to go, and they're back to a 2-goal lead. Look at this, Sticky Kazoo, he managed to get the goal. Yes, he did, but that all started from Doug on the defensive end. Every single dunk he's gotten has set up his team in one way, shape, or form. And thank you to Azrael HV for rating from the B stream. And now we're going to be getting into the rest of this semi-final match. 5-2 for Slothhounds. We've had a complete change of events for Reseda. They ended up winning their game 2 in a very high scoreline. And now Slothhounds have come back, won game 3, and are about to win game 4 in a very big scoreline as well. We're about to go to essentially a best of 3 to decide the semi-final winners and the last spot in the last chance qualifier. But Sticky Kazoo pops the ball up high to Zephyr. They're trying to find some goal at the end of this game, build some sort of confidence for the next game in the series. But it looks like this game might be all but over, as now Reseda Esports have lost 2 games in a row, the split 2 champs. They have never lost to the Slothhounds roster, but Slothhounds are looking to get their first not only win against against Reseda Esports, but also get their first ever tournament win right after this, folks. This has been a very, very fun series so far, but we still have to see which team will get to 2 wins first now, as we're now tied at 2. Slothhounds definitely showing up after the first 2 games. They showed up at the beginning of game 1, but did end up losing that one. So let's see if they have what it takes to win another. We have not seen a Slothhounds on match point against this Reseda Esports roster, They've not seen it except for a game 5, but they were not, except for a game 5, which of course both teams are on match point. It's the only time outside game 5 and a game 7 where we have not seen Slothhounds on match point. So if Slothhounds can win this next game, this would be the first time that Slothhounds would have gotten to match point before Reseda Esports' roster. So that is definitely a really great thing in their book. We do have to remember, Slothhounds, they did end up going to game 5 in their last series. So now let's see who has what it takes now to win this next game. Now, I will say, if Slothhounds end up winning this series, especially if it goes to 7, they will have to be tired. You would definitely expect Havoc Pink to be the favorites going into the Academy Playoff Championships at that point. Whereas Reseda Esports, they got the bye into the semifinal, so you definitely would think Reseda Esports would be the better chance to win the Academy Playoffs. So, but right now, both these teams, they're not thinking about the $60 prize pool. They're not thinking about being Academy champs. Right now, they're thinking about just qualifying for the last chance qualifier. Let's see which team can score first in this game 5, as I think it'll be instrumental to determine who will get on match point and eventually win this series first. Mr. Chair pops the ball through the air. Ball back over now to Zephyr. Zephyr shoots. It's on target. Can he get the save? No. Zephyr finally puts the ball into the back of the net, and that will be, for the first time in a while, a lead for Reseda Esports. Finally, Reseda Esports, they won games 1 and 2. They lost games 3 and 4, but they managed to score first in game 5. Let's see if they have what it takes to keep this lead going. I want to see Kilo get... honestly, in games 1 and 2, Kilo is really impressing me. Instead of using his mechanics to trying to 1v3 the whole team, he's using his mechanics to set up great passes for his teammates. I want to see that more. I want to see him go for these passes. I want to see Zephyr going for those demos. Because when they go for those demos and bumps, That's when they're the best team in the Academy League. And here comes Zephyr. That's going to be another goal. Oh, excuse me. Zephyr didn't even get the goal. Mr. Chair will get credited with that one. And now we see a 2-goal lead for Zephyr and his team. Here we go. According to Yayo, he left the chat. They end up losing. Now they're back in the chat, and now they're winning. But that's going to be a chance for Slothhounds. Empty net saved by Zephyr on the goal line. And Reseda Esports keep their 2-goal lead. Slothhounds not going to be happy about that one. They're going to feel as if they were robbed from getting that goal. But Mr. Chair now sends the ball down to the floor. He can't get the ground double. The ball gets sent down the pitch. Charm looking for a goal. He misses the net, but a shot saved away by Kilo. He got a last-second touch. Now Mr. Chair flicking the ball over one, looking to get it past the entire team. Can't get it past the second man, though. And now it'll be over to Mr. Chair. He's looking for Demo. Zephyr with the shot. It's off the post and out. Still only a 2-goal deficit. 3 minutes to go, and both these teams firing shot after shot, but yet no one able to get the goal. Sticky Kazoo looking to pass that ball down mid. Will end up getting sent to the sidewall by Charm, but a misread. Actually, he looked like he was maybe going for the bump, but Doug can't find a shot on target. We're starting to see, honestly, both these teams, they just take each other's weaknesses from the previous game, I swear. Because right now, games 1 and 2, Slothhounds couldn't shoot. Games 3 and 4, Reseda couldn't shoot. And now we're back to Slothhounds not being able to shoot in game 5. Both these teams, apparently they're getting inspired, but in the wrong way. So now we're going to have to see if Reseda Esports can just maintain this lead for 2 more minutes, and they will be on match point and 1 win away from making the last chance qualifier and getting a chance to play for the Academy Championship. And Mr. Chair will put that one in. 3-goal lead for the side of Reseda Esports. Two minutes to go. Reseda Esports definitely have improved significantly since earlier on in the last couple of games, but now it's going to be Charm through the air. He stepped up massively in the wins that Slothhounds were able to accomplish, but right now we're seeing nobody on Slothhounds put up even a little bit of a fight, a tantrum against the side of Reseda Esports. Zephyr off the backboard. That's going to be a poor touch there, and we'll send over to Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair keeping it on the offensive end, setting up Zephyr, but he can't get touched. But Doug, pass to Sticky Kazoo, shot on target, saved by Mr. Chair, but a pass from Sticky Kazoo out mid. No one on his team is there. Slothhound, so many opportunities, but no one is ever there for the shot. Maybe this time they are. Minute and a half left to go, and a 2-goal deficit now for Reseda Esports to try and maintain. On to the kickoff once again. There's been so many goals in this series. We've seen the kickoff. We've seen the countdown so many times already in this semifinal. Remember, this is not a grand final, folks, although it's definitely going to feel like it. Both these teams want the chance to play against the other main league teams. And for those of you who are new to the Havoc League, we have 2 leagues, our Academy League and our main league. Academy League being Champ 3 and below, and main league being Grand Champ 1 all the way to SSL, including even players like S5 Cosmic, who is currently rank A and was top 100 by the end of the season in 2s and 1s, and actually was one of the best players in North American 1s earlier on in the season as well. That's what main league has. That's what these teams are playing for, the experience to play against these higher level teams. Let's see who will be able to win this series and clinch their ticket to have a chance to win against those main league teams. But here we go. Zephyr trying to maintain his possession. 50s the ball back to Kilo, and Kilo now will be trying to send his counterattack forward. But a brilliant touch from Doug will keep it on the offensive end. Tries to pass it mid, but Zephyr ends up clearing it out to the side. And they're now just trying to waste down the clock. A double commit, though, from Reseda Esports might make it awkward for Mr. Chair, but he manages to get the touch like he always does. But a shot on target, saved by Zephyr. And now Slothhounds, they have to score right now. Can they get it? No. Ball gets sent down the pitch, and I believe that's going to be match point for Reseda Esports, and Slothhounds now going to have to win 2 in a row to win this tournament. Now, if there's the pattern's anything to go by, these teams have, once a team gets their first win, they win at least one extra after that. The mentals on these teams, when they end up losing one game, seems to not be the best, but after the 2 games they lose, they seem to be able to come back and win. But Slothhounds, they can't afford to lose another game. If Slothhounds lose another game, their season is over. Let's see if they have what it takes, but still, brilliant defensive show from Reseda Esports. They got 4 goals, but they also got a brilliant saves. They actually had more saves than Slothhounds, and they won 4-1. So that doesn't show the strong defense from Reseda Esports. I don't know what it will take for you guys to see. But we're now going to be going on to Neo Tokyo to determine if we will see a win from Slothhounds to bring it to Game 7. I know as a commentator, Game 7s are the most fun thing to commentate, but I know if you're a Reseda Esports fan in chat, you definitely do not want to see a Game 7. But here we go. Let's see if Reseda Esports can just win this next game and bring them to the not only the grand finals, but also the last chance qualifier that's going to be happening tomorrow. And here we go. Reseda Esports. They're warmed up. They're in. Let's get started with game number 6. Neo Tokyo, a map in RLCS that has shown so much promise in so many games. And I will tell you personally, when I've played on Neo Tokyo in a tournament setting, it does feel a lot bigger. It's not actually bigger than any of the other maps, but it definitely does have that feel. And if you're if your team is nervous in a grand final or a semifinal qualification setting, that bigger feeling will definitely make you even more nervous. Doug will score first. Slothhounds already on a good pace to try and win this game 6, as whoever scored first outside of game 1 has managed to win the game. So let's see if Slothhounds can win this one and bring it to Game 7. The last time we saw these two teams in a best-of-7, Slothhounds lost in that Game 7. But they've improved. It's a different roster since the last time these two teams faced off in a best-of-7. And now they are looking to try and show up in Game 6 and get it there. Ball to the side wall. Over now to Kilo. Kilo, he wasn't on the top of the scoreboard last game, but he was still instrumental in their ability to win that Game 5. But a miss from Zephyr will end up leaving Mr. Chair to try and clear this ball down the pitch. Mr. Chair, he gets the beat on 1. Trying to pass the ball out mid. Triple commit from Slothhounds, but no follow-up from Mr. Chair's teammates leads to an easy save and clear from Slothhounds. Down to Sticky Kazoo. He misses. Setting up Charm. It's off the post. Follow from Doug. It's in the back of the net. Doug Grave has put the ball in the back of the net. 2-goal lead for Slothhounds. Oh my, folks. I'm going to need some water here, especially if this goes to Game 7. It's going to be insane. Mr. Chair, flying through the air, gets beat out on the 50, and Kilo will get dunked as well by Charm. Charm has been warming up as the series has gone on, and he puts another shot on target, stolen by Sticky Kazoo. And folks, it's only a minute into Game 6. But I'm sure some of you might want to already claim if this is going to 7. Oh my, folks, if this game goes to 7, this would probably be one of the best, and honestly, I'll claim it, the best Academy series we have seen of all time. If they end up managing, if this ends up going to 7. Here we go. Kilo to Zephyr. Zephyr passes the ball mid. He ends up getting beat out by Charm. Charm sends the ball down the pitch, trying to see if he can get a pass out mid. He gets the beat on 1. It just seems like every single time we see Reseda Esports on the ball, they end up just losing the 50, but it doesn't go to anybody. Losing a 50 is not a bad idea. It's pretty safe to do, but if your teammate's not supporting behind you, all you're doing is just losing a 50 and giving up territory. So Doug puts the ball off the mid. Mr. Chair will send the ball out to the midfield line, and now it'll be over to Zephyr. Zephyr down the pitch to Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair. Back over to Zephyr. Zephyr going through the air. Passes the ball out mid. Back to Kilo. Kilo can't get the touch. Back to Mr. Chair. Back within 2. Still a lot of time on the board. And Mr. Chair is going to open up the scoreline here. Mr. Chair has been instrumental in so many important victories for Reseda Esports throughout this entire season. And now he's trying to do it in Game 6. He knows he does not want his teammates to be under the stress of a Game 7. They know they're able to win those Game 7, but this is going to be a completely different Game 7 than they've ever participated in before. At the end of the day, if they lost in Split 1, it's not the end of the season. If they lost in Split 2, it's not the end of the season. But right now, they are playing in what could be the final series of their entire season. They've had such a fantastic season. They've been known as number 2 and now number 1 for the most of the season at this point. So if they lose this one, they would be cementing themselves as the 3rd best team this season, and that would be a detriment to the history that they've been trying to instill in this Academy League. But that's going to be a fake from Zephyr. He wins the 50, getting it past 2. Can he get the ball mid to a teammate? Kilo finds himself being awkward. He does pass it back to Mr. Chair, but Charm with a brilliant dunk. Now it's up to Zephyr. He gets the boost. Can he get the ball to the offensive end? No one's flying yet, but now here comes Charm through the air. But a great dunk from Zephyr. Puts the ball off the backboard. And an even better touch from Sticky Kazoo. Gets the ball to harm's way. Mr. Chair gets bumped by Charm. But another bump will get the ball on the offensive end. Kilo trying to take possession. Gets it past 2. One player left on defense, and it's Doug. He was instrumental in the earlier game to tie up the series. Kilo back out mid. Touch from Charm. Keeps it out of harm's way. Still 2 minutes to go. Time continues to wane, and Reseda Esports trying to bring it back within 1. Back over to Kilo. Setting up Zephyr. He shoots. Saved away by Sticky Kazoo. Now over to the side wall. Taking it out mid. Setting up Charm. Charm over to the middle. Zephyr gets the 50. Now it's back to Charm, and it's going to go over to Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, though, he just pops it and doesn't go. Doug with a great touch. Setting up Charm. Can he get the goal? 3-goal lead. Minute and a half left to go. And again, Slothhounds trying to get Reseda Esports knocked out of the Academy playoffs. Folks, this series is just back and forth. I said at the very beginning it was going to be back and forth, but it continues to show why that thought is true. Kilo now through the air. He's not really been here since the beginning of the series. Maybe the nerves are affecting them. You would think that now that they managed to win their first tournament, they'd be able to show up here with more confidence, but right now they're playing for that last chance qualifier spot. Back to Kilo. Through the air, looking for the pass mid to Zephyr. Zephyr gets the beat to Kilo. He can't find the net, and a clear from Sticky Kazoo gets it out of harm's way for now. Zephyr trying to pass that ball mid to Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair gets beat. Now Kilo, he's awkward. He's on defense. He's already owned gold once. You can see the nerves in him flipping early. Oh my, Kilo. Hopefully he pulls his act together because, ladies and gentlemen, if the next 40 seconds holds, it will be a Game 7, but Kilo puts it in. That's going to hopefully help with his confidence, but is it a little too late? 36 seconds to go. 2-goal deficit. Game 6. Can they bring it back in the final minute? Right now, Reseda Esports are looking to rewrite what Game 6 is looking like. Right now, it looks like Slothhounds have had all the confidence in the world. They're looking to try and rewrite that. They're trying to make it so Slothhounds are nervous in the last 30 seconds, but with Charm on the team, it looks like that's not going to happen. 3-goal deficit once again, and Reseda Esports, their defense keeps falling apart, and they are looking more nervous than we've ever seen them before. I'll give y'all some information. In Split 1, when these two teams went to Game 7, Reseda Esports' roster looked far more confident going out of that Game 6. Whereas we didn't really see nerves, they just weren't winning. They weren't looking like the best team on the pitch when they lost. But right now, this Game 6 is a completely different idea that we've seen from Reseda all season long. It's completely new territory. I don't know how Reseda Esports are going to fare going into this next game. Will the nerves continue and allow Slothhounds to get the win? Or will Reseda manage to fight back from this loss and win Game 7? Ladies and gentlemen, Slothhounds versus Reseda Esports. Game 7. Last chance qualifier spot on the line. Champions Field. Here we come. Oh my folks. And look at that. I mean, Zephyr, he's normally at the top of the scoreboard in important games, but even Kilo, looking nervous, is still above him on the scoreboard. And of course, score doesn't mean everything in Rocket League, but normally normally certain players always are in a certain spot, first or second on the scoreboard. Seeing Zephyr at last on the scoreboard is just something we're not used to. He had 0 goals, assists, and saves. He had 3 shots, of course, but nothing else. Folks, Game 7, semifinals. Whoever wins this clinches the last chance qualifier spot, and also a chance to win $60 and be crowned the Season 7 Academy Champions after this. Looks like their coach, Panda, is taking his time trying to get his team mentally prepared for Game 7. Now, Panda, he's been known to lose Game 7s in the past, so you'd think he'd be experienced enough to know what to tell his team. Panda, of course, in the main league, being one of the only teams to have been reverse swept twice in a best of 7. But he's the coach now. He knows what the feelings are. But everybody, if I'm going to say one thing, I think whoever scores first will win this series. That's going to be all 3 players on the side of Reseda, down the pitch. A miss, though. Why didn't Doug go for the shot? That looked like an empty net. Still tied 0-0. Here comes Kilo. He shoots. He scores. And Reseda Esports score first. I did claim whoever scores first will win. And everybody, we've never seen Reseda Esports look nervous as they did in Game 6. And Slothhounds, they've been known to get every series to the final point and lose. They told me they were going to change that narrative. They were going to finally win against one of the top 2 teams. But right now, we're starting to see the nerves. Kilo even managed to put the first goal in. Zephyr through the air, a mistouch there. And the ball does get sent down the pitch. Mr. Chair through the air, looking for the shot. It's in! Reseda Esports up by 2. Less than a minute into the game. Slothhounds, we're starting to see their nerves. They're giving up free balls, and honestly, I'm still seeing the nerves in the car movement from Reseda Esports. They're just not, but even though I'm seeing the nerves, they're at least putting the shots on target. Ball out to the corner. Chance here for Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair gets the 50 win, getting the ball to the offensive end. Right now, we need to see from Reseda Esports these players not miss the ball and play 50s. They have to just buy as much time as they can, not give any free space. That's going to be a win on the 54 Slothhounds. We're going to have to see if Sticky Kazoo and Charm, the duo that has been working throughout this series, can come back. Ball back to Mr. Chair. He gets the beat on that one, setting up Zephyr. Zephyr ends up not being able to win the 50. And now Charm looking to beat Mr. Chair. He gets the beat on Mr. Chair, but here comes Kilo. Kilo does not get dunked this time, but he does get beat out by Sticky Kazoo. Zephyr trying to maintain possession. Ends up not being able to get it past the defense, and now we'll be over to Charm. Charm keeps it on the offensive end. He's going to be looking for the double tap. Can't get the touch out mid. To Zephyr. Zephyr taking his time. Will be off the side wall. Now over to Kilo. Kilo sent to Charm. Charm getting beat out by Mr. Chair. Doug, he ends up missing another ball. We're seeing some nerves from Doug. And now it'll be back to Kilo. Kilo to Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair pops it into the air. Let's see what he can do here. Pops it over to the corner. Looking for the double tap mid. Doug taking his time. Does get around 1, but Sticky Kazoo gets bumped. Kilo taking his time, 50s, and wins the 50. 3 minutes to go. Still loads of time on the clock, but we have to see Slothhounds get some semblance of pressure if they're going to want to try and come back in this game. That's going to be another miss from Slothhounds. The nerves now affecting them. We're not seeing the confidence that we saw in Game 6. But now it's going to be over at mid. Opportunity for Sticky Kazoo. He gets it around 2. Last line of defense is Mr. Chair, and he gets the touch he needs. Pass mid to Charm. He shoots. He scores. We're back within 1 right at the midway point. Here we go. And look, the passes that have been allowing Slothhounds to stay in every series they played in this season have brought them back within 1 after getting scored on twice. Now we have to wonder, will Reseda have the same mechanical confidence they had at the beginning of the game, or will that change their mindset? The backboard, Mr. Chair gets beat out. We'll be back over to Kilo. Kilo gets beat out by Doug. and that's going to be a demo on the side of Charm. He ends up getting demoed off the pitch, but a double commit from the side of Reseda might make it awkward for them, and now Charm off the respawn. He gets the ball past one, can't get it past Zephyr as he's out of boost, and now here comes Kilo, looking to just get the ball to the offensive end, passes the ball mid, trying to set up a teammate. Zephyr flies through the air, triple commit, and Charm, with an easy touch to the side, will get the ball out of harm's way and now set up his own offensive push. Off the ceiling, now to Zephyr, he's taking his time. Doug gets beat again, another miss from Doug. Now it's gonna be Zephyr in a one-on-one, trying to be the hero, can't get it past Sticky Kazoo. Now to Kilo, Kilo shoots, Doug has to get the touch, he doesn't miss this time. Charm though, pinches it back to his own side, back to Sticky Kazoo, he puts it off the side wall, now he's looking to take possession himself. Gets the ball around one, looking to see, can he get a demo on the last defender? No, Zephyr sends it down the pitch, but that's gonna be a demo on the defensive end. Kilo. Over now to Doug. Doug finally is looking like he's hitting his touches, but a little bit too late. Minute and a half left to go. Time continues to wane in this game 7, and we're still at a 1-goal lead for Reseda Esports. Ball back out to Kilo. Kilo to the corner. Back to Zephyr. Zephyr can't get the touch. Now back over to Doug. Doug to Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair back to Sticky Kazoo. Sticky Kazoo now over to Kilo. Kilo, he looks like he's on 0 boost. He missed the big boost, and he's still he managed to get the corner boost after the hit. But now all the pressure is on for Reseda Esports to keep the lead. Back to Kilo, he puts it over to the side wall. A missed touch from Sticky Kazoo might allow Kilo through the air. Kilo through the air, getting a reset, getting the 50, and it pinches out to the side. Who's gonna get to this ball first? Zephyr. He shoots Doug's last, and Zephyr gets the goal. 30 seconds to go. And Reseda Esports about to get the win if they can maintain the 2-goal lead here for the next couple seconds. A 3-1 lead, 40 seconds to go. Right off the kickoff, Sticky looking for the shot, can't find the goal. Back over to Mr. Chair. He's taking his time, looking to try and clinch out the win. Doug does get the touch, but we have to see a goal right here, right now from Slothhounds if they want to try and come back and tie this game. Ball towards the middle, but a great possession. This is the most confident we've seen from Kilo in a long time. Off the backboard, Zephyr puts it off the backboard again. Kilo putting it off the backboard. And now we have to see a goal before 0 seconds, but we're stuck on the offensive end. And ladies and gentlemen, Reseda Esports, representing their organization in a Havoc for the first time, manages to clinch the last chance qualifier with the goal at 0 seconds. GG's to this team. Oh my goodness. That has to be the best match in Academy that I have ever seen. And I've been here for every season of Academy. I've commentated so many matches, every playoff match. And I will say that was the best match that I have ever seen in the Academy League. But folks, I know that hype may have sounded like a grand final, but that was just to qualify for the last chance qualifier. So everybody, there is a grand final right after this, the winner of which will get $60 and be crowned the official Season 7 Academy League champions. But outside of that as well, tomorrow is the last chance qualifier, where the 7 through 12 main league teams in points will be playing against the top 2 teams in the Academy League for the last 2 spots in championships, which will be taking place next week with the big prize pool as well. So thank you so much everybody for showing up in match number 1, and I will say that was such a fantastic match, but it looks like we are running a little bit behind with that going to game 7. So everybody, we're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we will have Reseda Esports versus Havoc Pink. See you guys in a bit.
Darling, I've been tempted by the darkness.
inside. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Havoc Academy League Season 7 Grand Finals. This will be the final Academy match for the Season 7 of the Academy League, and it has been a very long ride. We just got off of one of the biggest matches in Academy history that we've ever seen. Slothhounds and Reseda going all the way to Game 7, and Reseda managing to clinch out the win, solidifying their spot in the Grand Finals, as well as a spot in the Main League Last Chance Qualifier tomorrow. And what a fantastic match that was. So now we're going to calm down just a little bit. We're going to hop into Game 1 of this Grand Final here, pretty much right now. But overall, I do want to take this special time before the match. We want to make sure that both these teams are get a little bit of break before this match. And I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who supported Havoc Esports, not just in Season 7, but throughout the entirety of its existence. I want to say personally, as the owner of Havoc, thank you for showing up. Thank you for watching our matches. And thanks to all the teams who participate, whether you're a Havoc team or if you're from another organization that's partnered with us. Thank you so much for joining in this league and really putting your heart into it. I just want to say thank you to all of you for that. But let's not get too sad or emotional right now. We got Game 1 of the Grand Finals here and ready to go. The players are ready. Let's get started here, folks. I can't wait to see who will end up being the winners. This season has come full circle now at this point. Let's see who can get the W. Oh, here we go. Everyone's in. Havoc Pink versus Reseda Esports. The grand final is here. Let's see who can end up getting the win in this game. Right off the bat, we see a lot of pressure from Reseda Esports. Or sorry, excuse me, from Havoc Pink. Reseda Esports, after winning that Game 7, are getting pressured on the offensive end, and goal number 1 will find itself in the hands of Havoc Pink. So, we do have to give some information here. Havoc Pink, they did lose the last grand final to Reseda Esports. However, Havoc Pink were playing with their sub in Unicorn Hunters. Right now, they are playing with their main roster, with Rebel, and are looking to try and clinch not only the first seed from Academy to go to the Last Chance Qualifier, but also to be the Academy champions. And to give some more context, Reseda Esports' roster has never been able to beat Havoc Pink with Rebel on the team. And something to give you even more context, at the beginning of the season, Rebel was actually on the Reseda Esports roster back when they were called Team Cypher. Back when they were Team Cypher, it was Rebel, Mr. Chair, and Zay. They ended up winning the seeding tournament, and then right afterwards, they replaced Rebel with Kilo. And ever since then, they've been trying to show that they're the best team in Academy. They're trying to show that Kilo was the correct roster pick to have. And ever since then, and Rebel, he didn't participate for the rest of Split 1. Split 2, he joins Havoc Pink. Havoc Pink gets second in the playoffs. of Split 2, where they weren't able to play with Rebel that day. And that's when Reseda Esports got their first win. But we have not seen Reseda Esports beat Havoc Pink since they picked up Rebel. So let's see if Reseda Esports can end up doing that tonight. Here we go. Right off the bat, we're already noticing that Havoc Pink has a lot of confidence. We're noticing that right off the bat. They just came from a 4-1 win against Havoc Purple. That's something we do have to keep in mind. That it came from a 4-1 win against Havoc Purple. So they're coming in here with a lot of confidence. Whereas even though Reseda were able to win the last game in Game 7, they probably had a lot of adrenaline. But that's sometimes the issue. If you win a really strong match, a very important match, it can kind of take it out of you. And now that you're in the grand finals, of course, you are still playing for something, but you have to wonder, did they use all their adrenaline in that first series on stream? Here we go, though. We do have to remember, though, Havoc Pink, they're going to be less fatigued. Not only did they finish their semifinals sooner, so they have a little bit more time to rest, but secondly, they also didn't have to play in the quarterfinals, so they're definitely going to be confident and well-rested going into this, but that's going to be Kilo scoring the first goal, and for the first time tonight, we actually are seeing Kilo on the Octane. We saw him on the Fennec for the entirety of the semifinal, and now, halfway into Game 1, he's managed to score for the first time on stream with the Octane. Free dude. Ends up leaving it for Rebel. We're definitely seeing the comms and confidence of Havoc Pink come out. Now, I will say this. I think even if Havoc Pink win the Academy playoffs tonight, I would still say that Reseda Esports probably have the best chance against the main league teams. As we do have to remember that Reseda Esports, they rotationally may not be as clean as Havoc Pink, but individually, mechanically, they definitely are better than Havoc Pink. So in an Academy League setting, Havoc Pink is definitely able to win games, even though they're the less mechanical setting. But once they go into the main league last chance qualifiers, you're definitely expecting the more mechanical team to show up. It's very similar to Season 6 Chiefs, where they went second seed from OCE into the World Championships, but they ended up getting top 4, whereas the first seed got knocked out in round 1. So either way, these teams are definitely going to be looking confident, and I can't wait to see how these two teams are going to fare against the main league teams tomorrow. And of course, this is just Game 1. It's going to be a very long best of 7, if I'm to guess. I mean, both these teams scoring and keeping it close in the first few minutes of Game 1. And we definitely have to try and reset from the very hyped semifinal that we did have and try to rear back up into a very hyped grand final. So here we go. Pre-dude. We'll end up looking to try and set up his teammate Rebel, but Kilo should be able to get a good first touch. He ends up getting dunked by Tricky and setting up Rebel. And of course, this is a dynamic as old as this season first began. Tricky versus Kilo. Everyone's talking about how Kilo is the most mechanical player in Academy. Some people talk about Tricky being the most mechanical player in Academy. And we've talked about the differences. Kilo tends to be a very mechanical player, but he uses mechanics to set up passing plays for his team. Whereas Tricky, he tends to be the more mechanical player that finishes shots, as well as trying to 1v3 opponents, rather than setting up his teammates for passes. But now that he has Rebel on the team, maybe he can use those mechanics to try and set up Rebel for some striking, because Rebel, he's pretty mechanical as well. Not as mechanical as Kilo or as Tricky, but he's definitely in the right position and put some great shots on target, which, if the last series anything to go by, the team that's able to shoot more consistently on target is the team that's able to win. 24 seconds to go. Havoc Pink still looking to try and maintain the lead in game number 1. And so far, they've been maintaining the lead pretty cleanly. We've not really seen any scrambling from Havoc Pink. This is definitely a different feel of a series for both of these teams than probably the semifinal was. Because, of course, even though Havoc Pink won the semifinals, there, of course, was still the nerves of, we play this entire season. Now, if we lose now, we won't have the opportunity to play against those main league teams. So, of course, those nerves will always show up, but Havoc Pink will end up taking game number 1 in this grand final. Havoc Pink definitely going to be happy about that win. But now, we're going to be going into game number 2 between these two teams. And right now, Havoc Pink, they're looking good. I think both these teams, they're trying to calm down somewhat from the semifinal qualification matches. And now we're looking to see who between these two teams are looking to try and be the overall Academy winner, who can reset themselves mentally from the semifinals, especially Reseda Esports, and come into this grand final and try to end up getting the win. So it looks like I was just told that we're going to restart the server here from these two teams. Looks like we have been asked to leave the game, and we're going to be resetting the server here for these teams. So Zephyr, maybe he felt a little laggy going into that game. We ended up staying on the same server the entire time between Havoc Pink and between Slothhounds and Reseda Esports. But now we're going to be going into we're going to have to reset the server here. Let's see how these two teams will end up performing after the server reset. So this will give some time for Reseda to reset themselves, get themselves in the right mindset. So let's see who will end up managing to get this next win. Because we do have to remember that Slothhounds, they won that Reseda Esports, they won the last series, but they also did it after winning games 1 and 2. And I think it gave them just enough of a confidence boost to end up winning that game. But here we go. We're just waiting for Reseda Esports to join up, and we'll begin with game 2. And of course, we do gotta love little breaks like this. Try to get us to sit in our own thoughts, thinking about who's going to end up winning the grand final here. We're going to be going on to my personal favorite map, Beckwith Park Stormy. And I just love stormy maps. I personally play with weather effects on. It doesn't distract me. And that's why I like getting to commentate, because I get to see the weather effects on high quality. Now, sadly, I do have to set the stream to 60 FPS, but of course, when I'm on my normal settings for half a second, I get to see the weather effects in high definition. But Pre-Dude will end up scoring first, and Havoc Pink once again on the board early on in this game. Oh my. Just like game number 1, they managed to score in the first 30 seconds. And now we're going to see Reseda Esports once again starting down. Now, Reseda Esports, we haven't, outside games 1 and 2 of the last series, we've never really seen them lose a game or two and then manage to win 2 games in a row themselves. So in Havoc Pink's eyes, they're definitely going to think that if they win this game, they're in a really good spot to win the series. But we heard it in the chat in the last series. After Reseda Esports won the first 2 games, everyone was already writing it off as Reseda is going to easily win the semifinal. But then it went all the way to game 7. It was very close through most of that game 7. So now we're definitely going to have to see if Reseda Esports can do what Slothhounds did to them last series and start bringing it back, even if they lose this game. But right now, Kilo, he's looking to not lose this game. He ties the game right off the bat. And now Reseda Esports looking to try and build up on their confidence after losing game 1. And of course, I was expecting Havoc Pink to come out with the win in game 1, as Reseda Esports just came off that huge game 7. They have to get used to a new team. They have to regain their energy after playing a very long game 7 like that. But right now, Kilo, he's looking more warmed up than ever. Right now, both these teams are something to play for. At least Rebel, he's trying to play to beat the team that kicked him off. And whereas Reseda Esports, they're trying to prove that they made the right choice in replacing Rebel with Kilo. And in the split 2 league play, it was Havoc Pink that came out on top with Rebel, and then Rebel didn't play in the split 2 playoffs. So right here, this is going to be Reseda Esports' final chance to prove that they made the correct roster move. Ball back over to Tricky. Tricky looking for the shot. Kilo lands on it, and we're still tied at 1. Kilo looking so much more confident than we've ever seen him before, and that's what we need to see from Kilo. He has to show us why he replaced Rebel. He has to remember that he's not just only replaced Rebel, he's showing us why he is better than Rebel, or at least that's what that he has to prove, not only to us as the viewers, but to his team as well, that they made the right choice. And Kilo, he's been all over the ball this entire game so far, making save after save, shot after shot, and he has the only goal so far for Reseda as well. And actually, in both games, he has their only goals. So let's see if he can keep this form up. This new Kilo that's looking to try and be the Academy champion. Because we do have to remember, whoever team loses this is their last time. This is their last time in the Academy League. Now, of course, the org could sign an Academy team to play in the Academy League, but all these players, they've officially throughout this entire season, they've grinded really hard, and all of them are now past Champ 3. A majority, I believe all these players now are at Grand Champ 1 or above at this moment in time. So these players will officially be too high in rank to play in Academy next season. So now so this is both these teams' final chance to claim themselves as the best team in Academy history. Now, that last series may have been the best series in Academy history, but right now, both these teams are going to have to try and amp up what even happened in that semi-final and then see who will end up being the Academy champions for Season 7. That's going to be a miss, though, and a miss from Tricky ends up allowing Mr. Chair to get the ball to the offensive end. That was opportunity, once again, for Havoc Pink, but they seem to not be able to find the back of the net. And that was the one thing that Havoc Pink have had throughout this entire season. They never really have games where they aren't able to hit the ball on target, or at least get a few shots on target. And to be fair, they have gotten a few shots on target that have looked solid, but they're hitting a lot more crossbars than they are good shots on target, so maybe the maybe the grand finals for the entire season might be weighing down on them just a little bit. And of course, these players, they are technically playing for a $60 prize pool as well. I mean, Academy players are not necessarily players that expect a prize pool, I don't think, but we still wanted to give it to them. But Mr. Chair, what a brilliant shot from Mr. Chair. Look at this, folks. Zephyr, he wins the 50 on Rebel. Mr. Chair turns across the pitch and then rockets it top right corner. That is the Mr. Chair. That's the striking from Mr. Chair that we've grown so accustomed to, and he's finally bringing it back in game number 2 of the Grand Finals. Mr. Chair ends up losing the 50 to Predude. Predude looking for the dunk, and now Zephyr will end up not being able to get that ball forward. Now to the corner. Back over to Tricky. Tricky can't get the touch he wants, and it'll be Kilo once again. Kilo, Kilo's trying to prove this Grand Finals is his series. Mr. Chair manages to get the beat on one, but it's going to be all 3 players now at Havoc Pink looking for a pinch shot. Looks like Rebel did end up pulling out of that play, but still, Havoc Pink looking to try and come back in this game. And if Havoc Pink were able to win this game, especially from being down in the last couple seconds, you would definitely think that would be it for the mental on Reseda Esports. But Tricky now taking his time. Mr. Chair avoids the bump, but he can't get the save. Tricky flicks it on net. Kilo has been putting in so much work on defense, and when he asks just one thing out of his teammate, they're not able to get the save. And that's going to be a tied game. Reseda Esports now have to try and get the lead once again if they want to tie up the series as early as possible. Ball gets pinched towards the backboard for Reseda Esports. Mr. Chair gets it past 2 players. Can't get it past the 3rd one, though. And Tricky will send the ball into the offensive end. He's not able to get the pass out mid as he tried to do. And Predude will end up sending the ball to the corner, trying to set up his teammates off the back wall. Predude gets the reset, but he ends up losing it back towards his own net. It will be off the post, but Zephyr with the follow-up and a double commit will allow Havoc Pink to be a little awkward here on defense. Can Mr. Chair finish it? No! Ball still in the air. That's going to be a touch there from Kilo. He keeps it alive. Kilo leaving it for Mr. Chair. That ball will touch the ground. And ladies and gentlemen, for the first time tonight, by what it looks like, we have overtime. That whole semifinal, I don't believe one game went to an overtime. But here in game 2, both these teams have already gone to an overtime, and they're looking good. Mr. Chair wins the 50 off the curve. It bounces down, but no one on his team's there for the follow. Tricky almost gets a good 50 there. He was very close to getting a complete win on that 50-50. Rebel, though, misses. Give me a flick over the sidewall by Mr. Chair. Tricky pinches the ball down the pitch. It will be off target, but no one on Reseda Esports went to touch that ball. It might be enough to allow Rebel to get the goal. He ends up leaving it for Predude. He passes the ball back over to the shot from Tricky. Tricky can't find the net. And now here comes Zephyr, taking his time. Loses the 50 back to Mr. Chair. He's now going to take his time. Over to Mr. Chair once more. To Tricky. Tricky gets beat out by Kilo. Now to Zephyr. Zephyr ends up leaving it for Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair putting it high onto the ceiling. Back to Predude. Predude puts the ball off his own backboard, but it does set up Zephyr. He ends up getting the hard touch, though, and he gives away the ball. Now here comes Predude, passing the ball mid, trying to set up Rebel. Rebel, though, nowhere near that ball. And here's Kilo. He's been continuing to look this is a completely different Kilo than the last series. Kilo definitely wants the experience playing against the main league teams, but again, when Kilo's not back, Tricky finds the goal. That's the second goal in a row that Tricky has scored when Kilo hasn't been back. And there we go. That's going to be Havoc Pink up 2 games now against Reseda Esports. If you're a Reseda Esports fan, you got to put all your heart and will in the cheering this team on. They need your motivation. They need to know they're playing for you guys. I need to know that. And if you want to do that, cheer in chat. I know some of these teams check the chats in between games. So if you are a fan of Reseda Esports, if you are a fan of Havoc Pink, make sure to cheer them on in the chat. But here we go. We're now going to be going on to Sovereign Heights. Another brilliant map, in my personal opinion. I thoroughly enjoy whenever I watch teams play on this map. And honestly, if there was a stormy version of Sovereign Heights, I think that would be the best map in the game. But for now, it's just sitting at a good second place for me. But now on to Sovereign Heights between these two teams. Let's see if Reseda Esports has what it takes to not only come back and win the next game, but come back and win the series. They're now down by 2. They're where Slothhounds were in the semifinal, trying to come back and win 2 in a row to tie it up. Because if Havoc Pink win this next game, Reseda Esports will be tasked to be one of the few Havoc teams once again to try and reverse sweep in a best of 7 in a Havoc Esports grand final. And don't get me wrong, folks, it's happened before, but it's never happened in the Academy League. Actually, it has happened in the Academy League one time. And it was Havoc Pink versus Havoc Teal in the 3rd tournament of Split 2 last season. Havoc Teal managed to reverse sweep Havoc Pink in the grand finals of the Split 2 Tournament 3. So right now, we're looking to see if we can avoid having to see another reverse sweep. And I know Kilo is definitely going to be wanting to try and make sure his team gets on the board first. And that's what they will end up doing. And that's going to be goal number 1 going over to... That's going to be game 1 goal 1 going over to Reseda Esports. And that semifinal did take a lot out of me. But as we continue on through the series, especially if Reseda Esports managed to get the game win here, it'll definitely come back. But Predude will slot that ball into the back of the net, and already we're back in the swing of things. Both these teams firing back and forth, but so far, Havoc Pink's the only team to come out on top at the end of a game. Back out to the corner to Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair back to Tricky. Tricky can't get the touch that he wants, but he's still able to follow it, as no one on Reseda Esports is ready for that touch. Bit pinched off the ceiling to Zephyr. Zephyr now down to Predude. Predude getting beat. Can he get the follow-up? No. Kilo, though, will set up Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair to Tricky. Tricky trying to get the touch. He ends up not being able to get the best of touches, but Rebel's up there first. Rebel looking to try and solidify the idea that kicking him off the team was the worst thing that Reseda could have done way back when. But of course, no matter what, even if Rebel does win this match here, I don't think Reseda Esports will ever think that they made the wrong choice picking up Kilo. But Tricky is gonna put that ball into the back of the net. The 1v3 man himself manages to get the ball from Rebel, take it off the backboard, double tap it in. Now that is a double tap, ladies and gentlemen. Academy League once again stepping up on the mechanical front. Zephyr. Back over now to Predude. Predude to Zephyr. Zephyr ends up not being able to get back to it. Ball gets sent all the way back into the back corner. It's going to be a shot on his own net. Oh, no. It's falling apart for Reseda Esports. Kilo gets a poor touch. And now Zephyr ends up own goaling, or excuse me, never mind. That's not Zephyr own goal. That's just Repper's car. Excuse me. I thought that was an own goal for a second. Just lost track of names for a second, because even though you all are able to see the names, I do have to look at a little bit smaller of an overlay to tell whose name is what. So that wasn't an own goal. I just know that Zephyr and Rebel use the same car. So okay, not an own goal, but 3-1 lead for Havoc Pink as they're looking to try and bring it to match point after just 3 games in the grand final. Kilo, though, taking his time, getting it around 1. Here comes Zephyr, looking for the shot. Bates and Rebel, and Mr. Chair puts it in. 3 minutes to go, and we're back to a 1-goal deficit. Havoc Pink cannot say they're going to clutch out a win just yet. Dude wins the 50 on the kickoff, setting up Tricky. Tricky with a great cut, barely not able to get it past Mr. Chair, who managed to get just a corner of his hitbox on it. But here comes Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, look for a bump, but Kilo is trying to solo play his way through the entire team. Follow-up from Mr. Chair, not able to get the goal, though. Kilo, he's continuing to show off his mechanics as opportunities for passes, but right now his teammates aren't fully showing up. Rebel to the sidewall. Not able to get the beat. Now it'll be acting in the hands of Predude. Predude to Tricky. Tricky to Kilo. Kilo still not able to find the touches that he needs to just fully carry his team. Don't get me wrong, Kilo's been looking extremely well in this series, but he's not been able to carry his team to a win just yet. Rebel looking for the flick. Now back to Zephyr. Zephyr back to Tricky. Tricky can't get the win. And now they're back over to Zephyr once again. Zephyr getting the beat. Zephyr back to Tricky. Tricky ends up getting beat there. We'll be back over to Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair ends up getting the 50. Kilo finds himself getting a 50 as well. We're starting to see some more continued pressure from Reseda Esports as they're keeping the ball locked in the offensive half. Rebel doesn't get the best of touches, and Predude will look for the follow. Now off the ceiling. Here comes Rebel. Rebel gets beat. Back to Mr. Chair. He ends up getting beat. We're finally back in the offensive zone for Havoc Pink, and a poor touch from Kilo will keep them in the offensive end. Tricky, though, will touch a 50. Ends up going straight to Rebel, but luckily for Havoc Pink, Rebel just gives it right back. But then Kilo gives it right back to the other team. Luckily, he does make it. Luckily, the 2 players did end up missing for Havoc, for the side of Havoc Pink. But Reseda Esports, with almost a minute left to go, are still looking to try and tie the game. Now, we do have to remember Havoc Pink, they did end up winning the last game after being down by 1 goal in the final minute. So let's see if we can see a complete mirror image of what happened in Game 2. Zephyr puts that ball forward. Follow up for Mr. Chair. He can't find the goal. Now into the hands of Kilo as he ends up losing the 50 back. And Predude's going off the ceiling. Gonna get the follow up. Not able to get the best of touches. And will now be over to Kilo. Kilo ends up missing though. Nerves might start to appear here for Reseda Esports. As it's now over to Tricky. Tricky looking for the clincher. And it's now back to Predude. He shoots, and that will find its way in. 27 seconds to go. And Havoc Pink, 27 seconds from being on match point. Up 3-0 in the grand final. Havoc Pink, a lot of people probably wrote them off as being the clear favorite going into the Academy playoffs, especially after Reseda Esports are able to win the Split 2 playoffs. But now we're seeing Havoc Pink, with Rebel back on the roster, back from his hiatus from last week, is showing up and showing why he's such an important player on your team, at least when it comes to himself as an individual. We do see some double commits, we still do see some mistakes. But so far, it's been enough for Havoc Pink to now find themselves on match point. Folks, this is not looking good for Reseda Esports. Now finding themselves having to reverse sweep the Split 1 champs, the Split 2 grand finalists. Now, granted, they were the team that beat Havoc Pink in the last playoffs was Reseda Esports. But now we're going to have to see them do it in the biggest grand final the Academy has ever seen. Let's see who has what it takes to get the dub here. Here we go. Now on to Manfield Night. Let's see which one of these teams will end up getting the win. Now, I will say, if Reseda Esports do end up losing this game, this would be the earliest we've ever finished an Academy final, which, as a commentator, you know, like, you do want really big matches, but at the same time, you know, it's always good to have a weekend where to rest. But right now, this is the grand finals. We want the energy, but right now, we got to see the energy from Reseda if we're going to try and bring any energy back into this grand final. Off the ceiling to Zephyr. Zephyr putting it off to the side wall. will be followed up now by the likes of Reseda, but no one of Reseda went, and it's just going to be Predude dancing around the defense, trying to set up his teammates. Kilo taking his time. Loses the 50 out to the side there. Kilo putting it off the corner. Luckily for the side of Reseda. Oh, that's not lucky. That's not what I meant. Tricky will end up winning the 50 back into his own net. And that's going to be Mr. Chair. Not the best of 50s, and Tricky wins that all the way down. But luckily for the side of Reseda Esports, Havoc Esports is pretty known for having grand finals that are reverse sweeps. Back in Season 5 playoffs for the main league, the undefeated team, a team that didn't lose the entire season, got reverse swept in the grand finals. And then that same team in Season 4 got reverse swept in the best of 7 in a semifinals. And then in the Havoc Esports $30 first ever public tournament, we ended up seeing a grand final reverse sweep there as well. So it's definitely possible for Reseda to come back, especially in a Havoc labeled event. But here we go. Back over to Zephyr. Zephyr back over to side of Predude. Predude ends up getting beat there. Rebel gets beat out to the corner. And that's going to be a miss from Havoc Pink as they're trying to just keep the ball away from the possession of Reseda Esports. And so far, they're doing a pretty good job. It's looking very similar to Game 1, where Havoc Pink, they're only up by 1, but they look calm. They look composed. It's just something that you don't really expect from a team that is just on the verge of winning their first ever championship. Tricky. Back over to Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair. Back over to Rebel. Rebel pops that ball high into the air. We'll be back over to Zephyr now. Zephyr down the pitch. Back over to Predude now. Predude trying to maintain possession. He puts that ball off the side wall. Looking for the follow-up. Not able to find the shot yet, though. Back over to Tricky. Tricky shoots, and Tricky scores. 3 minutes left to go, and Reseda Esports, it's not looking good. It does seem like they used all their energy to clinch the last chance qualifier. But at the end of the day, their season's not over. Even if they lose this grand final, they've made the last chance qualifier, which they can keep their season alive for another week, technically. So if they're able to win tomorrow, so tomorrow we would have to see Reseda Esports beat 2 main league teams if they want to try and make it to the championships, which no academy team has won a single series against main league team, let alone beat 2 of them. But if they are able to beat 2 main league teams tomorrow, then they would be the first academy team to clinch the championships, which would be insane. That would be 3 GC1s clinching a championships, where they will be playing most likely against teams that have players such as S5 Cosmic, a top 1s and 2s player, as well as a rank A player in 6-mans, where they would get a chance to play against him. The only way they can do that, though, is tomorrow they have to win 2 series. Which, of course, 1 series hasn't been done before. But here we go. Ball back over to Kilo. Kilo looking to try and start something for this team. Half the game left in Game 4, and Havoc Pink have gained nothing but more confidence as the series has gone on. Especially after winning that Game 2 overtime. There's been nothing but good shots on target. Predude puts it in. And by all means, folks, this series is looking all but over at this moment in time. Two minutes, 20 seconds to go. You definitely would say that, logically, you tell yourself, technically, it is possible for Reseda to come back in this series. But maybe it's the fatigue from the semifinals. Maybe they're just happy they made the last chance qualifier. But this is definitely not the same energy vibe that we're getting from Reseda Esports. But here comes Kilo. Maybe he can start something for his team, but the ball goes once again to Predude. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, Predude has been a rock for this Havoc Pink squad. He's been on the squad since the beginning of the season. They didn't play in the seeding tournament, but they did play in every single match outside 1 forfeit. Havoc Pink are the only team that have shown up every single week and only lost and only forfeited 1 time. They've seen other teams forfeit once or twice. But Havoc Pink, they've only forfeited 1 time. And outside of that, they've only lost 1 series. So that already is insane. An insane thing to even hear. Havoc Pink are definitely going to be seen for a long time as probably one of the best academy teams to ever touch this league. And next season, we'll get to see them in the main league. So that's even better. Back over to Predude. Pre-Dude ends up getting over to the sidewall. Back over to Pre-Dude once again. Zephyr ends up losing that 50-50. Now it'll be back to Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair trying to rush back. 1 minute to go. A 4-goal deficit has happened. Has been come back on in the final minute. Last time we saw that, though, was about a year and a half ago, where Havoc Purple scored 5 goals in the final minute against Havoc Gray in the main league. But, of course, that was main league, where teams tend to have a lot more ability to maintain momentum after scoring 1 goal. Whereas we've seen that a couple times tonight where a team is down, they score 1 goal, but then they get scored on right back. So, but there we go. Time's continuing to wane here. 34 seconds. But, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's safe to say at this point, Havoc Pink are your Season 7 Academy Champions. They are your Academy Champions for Season 7, as well as your winners of $60, and being one of the winners of the 2 spots in the last chance qualifier from the Academy League. Of course, we will get to see both these teams play tomorrow, so make sure everybody set your clocks. 8 p.m. EST tomorrow will be the last chance qualifier for the main league, where you'll get to see as well the top 2 teams from Academy, Havoc Esports and Havoc Pink. And we won't see a shutout in game 4, but that will be a big GG's from this team. Oh my, folks. I mean, it was a night. That semifinal was fantastic, and they managed to get the dub. Oh my. So now, everybody, we haven't done this the entire season, but we are going to interview the winners here of the champions. We're going to hop on a call with them real quick. Here we go. Hello, guys. Welcome and congratulations on your guys' Season 7 Academy Championship victory. So, first of all, congratulations. Definitely you had a lot of fans, of course, cheering you on in other matches tonight. So, how does it feel? You guys came into this season. Your guys' only series loss this entire season was a forfeit to Cypher Black and 1 loss with your sub to the team you just beat in the Split 2 Grand Final. So, what are your guys' thoughts on the season overall? Oh, excuse me. The Discord's not working. Make sure. There we go.
Really, yeah.
There we go. You guys are now audible.
Hello?
There we go.
Okay. Yeah. It was our first time doing Havoc and just popping in, so it's pretty nice just like doing this well.
Yeah, definitely. You guys showed up, and did you guys expect to have an almost undefeated season, or did you think that you would just
not at all.
be more towards the top, just trying your best to win?
Yeah, for sure. Like, didn't even fathom that we were gonna go that first split undefeated and be as dominant.
Yeah, I mean, if you showed up to week 1 Split 2, I mean, y'all could have been playing for a complete undefeated season, and that's only been done by 1 team. So there's been 2 teams before you guys that have had an undefeated split. That was Havoc White in main league back in season 5, and then my team actually back in seasons 1 and 2 of Havoc in the main league. So you guys are now one of the few teams to have done a split, and but only 1 team has done the full season. That was my team back in main league season 2. So you guys, so maybe next season you guys can push for the main league chance to do that.
For sure, easy.
For sure, easy. So I do want to go one by one talking to you here. So Tricky, throughout this entire season, there's kind of been the idea of it's you versus Kilo as probably one of the best or most mechanical players in Havoc, or just the best players in Havoc overall. And I think both of you guys showed up in that grand final. It was pretty obviously which team showed up in that grand final. So, Tricky, throughout this entire season, have you thought about that dynamic at all, or did you just come here to show up, play the game, and try to have fun?
I never really thought about it that way. You know, just wanted to join with Pre and start something. It went pretty well, and we're here now, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. You guys do win the $60. I know the grandest prize pool ever in history, $60 for the Academy League. But the more
I don't think you realize how stoked we are for
that. But you guys do have the last chance qualifier tomorrow, and you guys are going in as the first seed, so you do technically slightly have an easier match than some people. And let me hear. Looking at looking at the points here, you guys will be playing against, by what it looks like, you'll be playing against Havoc Red. They're the old Escape Velocity roster.
Gotcha.
So that will be definitely be a tough match. But how do you guys feel going into this last chance qualifier? Are you setting any expectations, or are you just looking to go in and do your best?
All right, and yeah, not at all. Like it. Don't think it's meant to be kind of deal, but we're gonna take the opportunity. Like that's the whole reason why we kind of started this team, was to get exposure to better play and get better through that. So getting a chance to go against the main league teams or whatnot, we're just gonna fucking, oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
We're just gonna save the replays and whatnot, and like, you know, really go ham on that, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get here, get better against better people.
Yeah, for sure. And so yeah, for sure. So and here Rebel. So you've had a very interesting season so far. Of course, you won the seeding tournament back on Team Cypher back at the very beginning of this season. And then due to some team issues, of course, you ended up getting removed from that roster. And then back at the beginning of Split 2, you got picked up by Havoc Pink and have shown your worth, I think, on this team. So how does it feel for you to finally solidify yourself that, hey, you're still a good player? Because of course team stuff happens, but how does it feel to be able to beat that old team that you were on?
Honestly, it just felt like another game to me. I
Oh,
didn't really take into consideration that that's my old team.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it more or less was on my mind that like every time I play them, like that's the team that like dropped me.
Yeah.
But I'm more focused on winning with these guys than really focused on anything with them.
Yeah. All right. Well, congrats on the win overall, and thank you guys so much for showing up this season. So I will say, I'll give you guys the stage now. So if you guys have anyone you want to shout out, whether it be your teammates, other teammates in the past that have helped you improve, or just anybody else, the stage is yours. Just make sure to keep it within the PG rating here. Okay. So.
Yeah. My main one, like my only one really that's like relevant, is Lawson Love. He's
Lawson
like the
Love.
manager for Digital Threat in main league. He works closely with us, and he's done a lot of coaching for us and whatnot. Popped in with games and helped us, you know, throughout the entire season, and still now he's like a really good friend. So I think he's done a lot for us. So easy shout out to that guy.
Awesome. Anyone else? Any other shout outs?
Chair just DM'd me. He said GG's to all you guys, by the way.
All right.
GG's, easy.
Well, thank you guys so much.
An easy
Congrats. You guys will be getting your prize pool winnings at latest by Sunday, I believe. So make sure you guys send me whatever way you want to get paid. But congratulations on your guys' win. And actually, hold up. Sorry. I almost forgot. We can't leave Unicorn Huntress out. Unicorn Huntress.
God.
I mean, you've been here the entire season, and you've also been a key part in Havoc Pink being a top team as well. So Unicorn Huntress, how do you feel about being on this team? Of course, you're now probably considered the sub now, but being on the team, how does it feel just playing with this team and technically being part of the team that's made history, is only losing one time to matches they've showed up?
I wouldn't be surprised if he's not here. I'm not gonna
If
lie.
he's
Oh,
not
yeah.
here, he's not here, but you know what? At least we mentioned his name.
Yeah. I will say he still has probably the cleanest shot for our team this entire season. It was like back in Split 1, some like crazy ceiling double tap.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, so if anything, he's got that.
I will say, when I was also not around, he stepped up, and I was watching the games. He stepped up in a big role.
Yeah, he definitely did. I remember watching him step up, and he definitely showed up when it mattered the most. So, so even if Unicorn's not here right now, congrats to him as well.
Love you.
There we go. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
All right, peace.
Thank you.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the Academy playoffs for tonight. But that's not the end of the championship weekends that we have here for this and next week. Tomorrow, we have the last chance qualifier starting at 8 p.m. EST with the 7 through 12 main league teams, and then the top 2 teams that we just crowned here in the Academy League. of which tomorrow the top 2 teams will join the top 6 teams from Main League in the championships next Friday and Saturday. So everybody, make sure you guys set some times up so you're able to watch. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us tonight here at Havoc Esports. Thank you so much for everybody who has been here and shown up. It's been a pleasure to commentate with you guys throughout the entire season, and I hope you guys all have a great night. See you guys next time. Peace.